Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Texas MotorSpeedway for round 2 here in the Pummu IndyCar series. As we move our camera, oh, I need to go in full screen. Oopsie, let me not make that mistake next time. But there we can see all the drivers lining up for what should be a rather eventful race from what we have been able to tell from practice and qualifying. A lot of pack racing, a lot of battling this race. It's sure to be a fun one. And I'll open the qualifying results and get you guys the qualifying results right now. I probably should have had that open already as well. I'm not very good at this, sorry. So definitely going to be an interesting one. Pepper is on pole for the start of this race, followed by Indy. In P3 we have Pumpkin and Onas. Neymar, Meaton, Doge, and Big. We have King and Cobra, Messy and Sub-Focus, who I will continue to call Dilge until I get sued. Pilot John, Nathan, Findsy, and Little Man. Little Man just barely making the cutoff there. Useless, Slippy, and Zero to Hero unfortunately did not make the cutoff for this race, so they will not be in this, not gonna be in this race. I'm not very good at intros. This is like my first time streaming in a long time, so we'll see how this goes. Should definitely be an interesting race here. No tire compounds to worry about here. As there we see the race director, DSA, trying to figure out how many laps will be in this race. Should be plenty of laps here. Times on this track are like half a minute long. So we'll move to this camera here, and we'll just get a nice little overview of everyone in the grid. Here we see Pepper in that Ferrari look-alike car there on pole, followed by Yeedy, Pumpkin, Onas, in the default #1 livery. I need to redo the track command apparently, because some people apparently respawned while I wasn't looking. So that's always lovely. Thanks for doing that, guys. A couple of custom liveries to look out here for, especially these two, between King and Cobra. A nice little Rolex livery there. I do not know what this top part of the screen is. Oh, I guess I put my mouse at the top of the screen. It messed up. Oopsie. Didn't know that was a thing that happened. But yeah, just a nice little view of all the cars. There's another custom livery, I believe, there for Nathan. I've never seen him before. And Findsy in a unfortunate livery as he pits as the camera goes on to him. Beautiful timing there. So we'll just view the timing board until the race starts. Actually, I do have a camera set up there. View time. Oh wait, oopsie. You can time. There we go. So until this race gets underway, not much to talk about really. Trainwreck, someone who we thought was gonna win round 1, had a very unfortunate race. He is actually a no-show for this race as well. A couple of other no-shows, along with him, Train Pig. The Train Duo, as I like to call them. Neither of them have showed up here. Couple of other people missing from this list that I can't exactly remember off the top of my head. Possibly joining me in the commentary box is DSA himself, though don't expect him to be that talkative. Added a few comments last weekend, though due to technical difficulties, no one could hear anything in the last stream. So hopefully that is not the case right now. OBS says everyone can hear me, so... So race control telling everyone that they can go into their own separate radio channels now. So there's our pole sitter right there in that Ferrari look-alike livery. As we'll mark one of those grid cameras that just walk down the track. or the grid as it would be here. Indy in his nice little pink bun-up shirt. So race control continued to just brief the drivers about how this start will go. Oh, and Clone has committed an act of trolling already. Hopefully that's all he does. We have some nice liveries going on here, especially this Rolex one. I mean, I was about to say it reminds me of a Lotus, and I mean, there's a Lotus sticker on the side of it, so, you know, guess it was pretty obvious. 7-Eleven livery as well. I think that's a custom one as well, actually. So some nice custom liveries as well. This one as well. For Pilot John. Very nice, black and yellow. And we are pacing now. A few of the drivers at the back of the grid. I'm getting a little anxious to start this race. I have no idea who Scheme Man is, but he's off in the void. So that's interesting. So for this race start, let me find my cursor here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh cool, the spectate system is broken. That's interesting. Anyways, we'll go on board with Pepper for the start of this race. Pepper, our pole sitter, of course. I believe it's either green this time or green next time by I forget what the essay said. Either we're about to go green now or we're about to go green next lap. I guess we're going green next lap, so we heard an engine rev in the background, so I have to assume someone thought we were going green and was unfortunately incorrect about his assumption, as we see Messi into the wall in the background there. Actually, a few drivers going on the high line. So a double file start here in Texas, sure to be interesting, as we see a lot of drivers are up into the wall right now. The walls don't do any damage to their cars, and I believe the purpose of doing that is they're trying to preserve their tires. Definitely an interesting strategy. I guess if there was a time to do so, I guess this would be your last attempt to do it. So we will now go in the incorrect camera, oopsie, and we'll wait for all the drivers here to get to the M&M restart zone here in Texas Motor Speedway. Round 2 here in the Pummu IndyCar Series. Pepper's on pole, but no one has ever won from pole here in Texas. We are green in Texas, and from what I can tell, Pumpkin seems to have gotten a very good start. Oh, I am not typing. Lovely. And Onaz, what has happened to Onaz? Not entirely sure. We'll go on board with Pepper. 100 laps here in Texas. And Pepper continues to hold on to P1. Yeedy had an awful start there from P2 to about P8 right now. As I believe Pepper has Neymar down on the inside, but everything's moving rather laggy here. And I don't think Pepper's in first place. And for a second, I think I saw them go 4 wide there. So definitely very close racing here. And Edie stopped near the pit exit, unsure what happened there, complaining that his car got flung for some unknown reason. But Edie from bad to worse on his start, I guess. That is not how you spell his name. So we'll go on more with Miatin. who is in P3 right about now. Cars continue to jump around, so it's rather hard to commentate when all of this is happening. Lamieton taking the high line. It seems that he might have King going on his inside here. Really good start from King here to get up into P3, but like, the draft is just so powerful at this track. I would not doubt it. And we continue down the backstretch, 3 wide for what would be 3rd place here between Neymar and I believe Doge, though Doge might have lost some speed and was unable to capitalize on it. And I think they're 4 wide almost. Pepper not able to keep the speed to keep it 4 wide for long though. They're 3 wide for up to the lead though between Big and Neymar. Really good starts from everyone near the middle of the grid and the back of the grid, I think. Mieton just having to take the high line as everyone goes below him. And they're 4 wide for 4th place for a second there in the exit. But we are still green flag racing here with almost 6 laps past here. A lot of drivers taking the grass a little bit. And they continue on. Almost 4 wide for the lead. They might be 4 wide for a second there. And now Dilge is in the lead. So the draft really is of huge impact here. It's definitely going to be a lot of pack racing that we just can't really see because of the lag. We will definitely try to view the action from above. Into turn 1 we see Big almost sort of seeming to ride the wall there, and I am so sorry, I hit my microphone. I do not think that this camera is gonna work for viewing the action. I have viewed the wrong person. Oopsie. Where is Findsy? Why can I not view him? That's weird. Oh wait, I'm trying to view cam and not just view. Okay, I'm stupid. I am very okay. This is actually kind of embarrassing. Yeah, anyways, we'll go on board with Dilge. Now King is in the lead, so really hard to keep the lead, but Pepper is still up here battling. It almost feels like everyone in this pack is gonna be able to battle for the lead. And hopefully that is the case and makes for very good racing. Now Dilge facing pressure from Pepper, maybe into turns 2. No, he won't actually, he will be fine. Meanwhile, I opened chat for a second, you might have been able to see Clone talking about the 24 hours at Daytona, which I hope has also been a very good race. And Dilge down the inside of Doge for the lead into turn 1. Pretty big sin, and I don't think he's gonna get the move done, but he is still gonna be just not able to keep up the speed to go side by side with him, but he is still gonna try to take a tighter line than Doge. It is really hard to keep track of the action with all the cars jumping like this, though. No one ever said commentating would be easy, huh? Meanwhile, DSA and Clones. Oh wow, they're 3 wide for the lead, but I think Pepper just barely got a better exit and he will be in the lead now. Christ. Now I think Neymar down the inside of Dilge. No, she's not close enough to make the move. And Neymar drew the grass a little bit as well. Oh, and Dilge into the outside wall. I guess contact must have been made, and he's gonna go right down the order. Contact between himself and either Pepper or Neymar sends him down the order into the wall. I'm dumb, oh my god. So we'll go on board with Pepper instead. Unfortunate there, but as we've seen before, it doesn't matter where you are, the draft is powerful enough to let you recover from almost any position really on the track. And Pepper, I believe, now has the lead once again. And you know what, for E.T., the race start might have not been what he wanted. Some sort of incident caused him to fall down the order. But I mean, we look behind him and we just see his name approaching the back of the pack. So honestly, an excellent recovery drive as Doge goes very wide through turns 1 and 2. And that will allow Nathan to join this battle for the lead. So Edie, a massive recovery drive from ET, really. I think they're almost 3 wide for the lead. If they are, I can't really tell. But I would not be surprised, but I think Pepper will hold on to the lead with this inside line. But Meaton trying to get that draft, and I think Pepper's trying to go very defensive down the backstretch. And I think Meaton is down the inside of Pepper through turns 3 and 4 for the lead. But Meaton's gonna shoot up the track because they're tire wear, but he will have the lead. Meanwhile, they're just almost 3 wide behind Pepper, if not already 3 wide, and Yeedy has already overtook someone towards the back of the pack, so Yeedy is having an amazing recovery drive, excuse me. And Pepper through the grass a little bit there, not too much harm going through the grass in these cars. Though, do it too much and I'm sure Marshall or 2 will have their eyes on you in next lap. As we see Messi and Nathan have a very close call, and I think they did make contact down the backstretch there. We saw that awkward turn from Messi, and I think that's gonna cause Nathan to fall down into the pack behind him, and it has. Surprisingly, has not negatively affected Messi that much, though. As there we see behind us, behind Pepper, actually, there was a bit more contact into turn 1. I think Edie... Oh, I thought Edie was slow, but turns out he's not. Saw a couple of things that I thought were the case. I believe there was some sort of incident towards the back, and I believe Pilot John has fallen way down the order. Maybe some contact between himself and E.T. didn't catch it all the way. And now Dilge has fallen out of the pack as well, so I guess contact is a massive just something you want to avoid around this track. Any sort of contact in a wall slows you down massively. I have said massive about 500 times in like the past second. And John, after whatever incident he was in, has came into the pits as well. So our first green flag pit stop is John, who will now go a lap under. But fresh tires, a lot of people have said, a lot of the drivers have been saying that fresh tires are everything at this track. And Yeety is actually catching up to the battle for the lead. What type of pace as Yeety has? At last place at the end of lap 1, he is now in P4 and battling for the lead in lap 22. What in the world has happened here? Oh my goodness. A massive drive from E.T. And it's not over yet. We're not even a quarter way through the race, and E.T. has had this type of race. And E.T. actually did make contact into the outside wall, so I might have given him some unfortunate contact between him, E.T. and the wall, as it seems there's a bit of a funny person messing with the race control So it says we are finished, but we are really lap 24 now. Or we will be lap 24 now. And ET is actually into the pits. So ET just starting his massive recovery drive. ET was doing a really good recovery and made contact with the outside wall, and I guess he decided his tires were done. So ET, our second green flag pit stop here. As there we go, the laps have been corrected, and I mean, I'm not very surprised to see that the little guy that was sitting in the void has been removed from the game, as ET comes out of the pits now. Just a little bit unlined with the leaders there, though he will probably give way. ET is a very nice driver. So far the battle for the lead now is Pepper, Mutin, Doge, and Nathan just trying to follow along as well. As my game freezes just a little bit there. Of course, these game freezes don't just affect me, they affect the drivers as well, and these game freezes are absolutely terrifying to go through, as I believe Mutin and Pepper are now side by side for the lead down the backstretch, but I think Pepper just got a better exit and will keep the lead going through turn 3 and 4. But with ET and John pitting so far, though, I guess more specifically ET pitting, I wonder how long until the leaders begin to wonder when they should pit, because ET has had a massive pace all day, and contact there between Pepper and Mutin there. Sorry to interrupt myself, but ET has had massive pace so far this entire race, and he would definitely be considered one of the leaders of this race. So I wonder how long until this top 4 group of drivers here, this little pack for the lead, begin to think about strategies that they should do. Not sure what's going on in chat. I think they might be almost 3 wide for the lead, and if they are, this is definitely a very scary position. And my game freezes, so of course they go through 1, my game freezes. There's race control affirming that and contact between Pepper and Nathan, I believe, sends Nathan into the outside wall, but he's able to keep it going, and they are almost 4 wide for the lead, but luckily I don't think Mutin thinks very highly of that idea, and he backs out of it. Either that or the tire wear is starting to get to him, which I would not be surprised about at all. Mutin is actually starting to fall down the order, so the case might actually be tire wear. And what you're seeing on the left there, that leaderboard, you would think that ET would be 1 lap down, but he has actually been marked as 2 laps down because he respawned his car whenever he did his pit stop. So ET, I mean, really, really great recovery drive, but now he's really got his work cut out for him. Has to recover in 2 entire laps. Or actually he only has to recover 1 entire lap, because by the time everyone pits, everyone will be on that 1 lap down. I will close the chat because there's a bit of an argument going in there, and yeah, let's keep it like that. Just gonna say that ET, I do not think is very fond of not having his laps given back to him. So Pepper again through the grass. I guess it is a slightly faster line through the grass, though I really doubt it, because going through the grass means you're trying to turn more, and so your tire wear might be higher. So 5-way battle for the lead here, plus ET following them. I believe if ET wasn't 2 laps down, or ET might have been given his lap back. I think ET might have been given his lap back. We'll see as they go across the leaderboard here. ET was given a lap back, so ET is only a lap down, though still in the midst with the leaders. So when the leaders pit, ET is really going to have a massive gap. So ET really strong race so far if he was given that lap back, which I believe he was. Either that or he has passed the leader. And I believe that's Nathan going slowly. He might be pitting, and he is. Lowman as well will be in the pits. So we continue to see green flag pit stops. And ET has the pace to overtake all of the leaders, apparently on those fresher tires. And I can only imagine what that will make the team strategists think about what they need to do. Edie is on the lead lap now after overtaking the leaders, so in retrospect, he will have the lead when all the leaders pit, if they do pit, which I would really have to hope they do, as Meaton actually going down the inside of E.T. to try to put him back a lap down. So too wide, I almost said too wide for the lead, but again, E.T. is barely on the lead lap, and he might actually be back down a lap because of Meaton. Though Meaton admittedly is running a little bit too wide through turn 2. Meanwhile, someone's complaining about someone being out on track, and it's actually Clone, our friendly local photographer, probably standing on the side of the track that they're not used to seeing someone. So, big question really now is going to be, when will the leaders pit and who will come out on top? And I have to really place my bets on ET here taking the lead, but anything can happen. We are not even halfway through this race. But ET has displayed really rapid pace this entire race. Did I say rapid race? I mean rapid pace. Sorry, God. So a bit of a calm period, I guess. ET has unlapped himself once again, and he might be able to. ET is really probably hoping that he catches the draft of the car ahead of him, which would be Nathan, I believe, and it is. So ET really needed to catch that draft of Nathan to escape the leaders, but I think Nathan has more of ET's draft than ET has of Nathan, and he'll be going to look down the inside of ET, but I don't think he was able to do it. So ET continues to fight for really remaining on the lead lap. So we'll go on board with Meaton as we see Big into the pit lane now. Pretty big battle for the lead here, a battle for about 5 people, but this pack is starting to spread out a bit. And Big is now out of the pit lane, so he has rejoined into that little pack. And ET has caught the draft of Nathan, so things are going really good for ET now that he's got his lap back and he's back on the lead lap. Really good for ET, really good position. So Meaton so far will lead this race, but himself and just about every car behind him in a very close proximity has yet to pit. And it's going to be interesting what the strategies are going to be, if it's going to be stay out as long as you can manage, or if there's a set lap that these teams are wanting to pit. A lot of drivers are just pitting as they please, I believe. Though I would have to assume that Edie would have to pit again, if I'm not mistaken. Mistaken, huh? A lot of mistakes from me, huh? Sorry about hitting my mic there. Just needed to remove one of the names that were visible from a spectator there. So the ET has fully caught up to Nathan. And if I were to place a guess on who would be battling for the lead, it would be Nathan and ET, despite them just basically being an entire turn away from being a lap down. Because again, Nathan and below still have to pit. Although I guess it's not exactly a requirement that you have to pit, it's just really an assumption that you will have to pit because the tire wear does get very out of control very quickly, as we see Neymar doing a little bit of wall riding. A couple of drivers speculating on where ET and Nathan will end up after the leaders rounds of pit stops, but we'll go on board with this because I do think that if they aren't in the lead by the end of the pit stop cycle, they will be pretty close. But I do also believe that ET may have to pit again if he doesn't try to go for a very, very long stint. It's going to be very interesting to see as we see Indy and Nathan make a little bit of contact there just for a second, though it didn't seem to affect either of them. And a little bit more contact through the corner as well, as Nathan actually does run wide, so maybe that tire wear is starting to affect him quite a bit as Indy trying to take the inside line now. Outside line didn't really work out for him, and Nathan's looking for a switchback, as I believe just behind him there was a massive battle going on that I might be joining to see just how well that battle is going, and I think I will. So we'll go on board with Nathan, who now has Pepper in front of him and Doge directly to his right. I believe Doge will make contact with the wall, and he does. So it's about a 28-29 second lap, and you really lose about 28 to 29 seconds if for an entire pit stop, it seems. You lose almost an entire lap, if not the entire lap. We've seen a lot of drivers go a lap down because they have pit. So far, basing that information, so far there's only been 5 people to pit this entire race out of 16. We are approaching the halfway point, as ET and Nathan up ahead are continuing the battle for what may end up being the lead for until the end of the race, or maybe until they need a pit again. We'll have to see. Lap 49 out of 100 now. A few people in the back doing a little bit of wall riding in the exit of turns 2. I believe they're trying to do this to try and, alleviate some of that tire wear, so I think the tire wear is starting to kick in for a lot of the drivers now. We saw, while we were on board with ET and Nathan, we saw Nathan just wash up the entire track while he was on the inside, and there was just contact. So ET and Nathan very close together up ahead, just trying to battle. As we are halfway through this race here in Texas MotorSpeedway. Really good racing here, as I predicted it would. It really does resemble pack racing, as now this pack for the current lead seems to grow and grow. Now Big and Pumpkin a part of this pack. And Meaton and Pepper are into the pits, as well as Neymar. So 3 of the leaders are into the pits. And we have reached the pit stop cycle, I would assume, for the leaders. I really hope it's a good pit stop for everyone. I have to stay on board and see. It seemed to be a good pit stop for everyone. Pepper seemed to struggle to get his car stopped though for a second. And as I was saying, it is definitely the start of a cycle. As now Pumpkin, Doge, and Dilge, and Onaz, and Findsy come into the pits. Pumpkin, a little bit of a slow pit stop there. And we go on board with Yeetie, who I believe may be taking the lead of the race here very soon. A lot of drivers in and out the pit lane now. There we go. I was wondering how long that would wait. So we'll view this camera, and there we see E.T. and Nathan going down the front stretch. And have they got the lead just yet? No, they don't. So far it would be Messi and King, the only two who have yet to pit, it seems, out of everyone. And so far they might be regretting that because both of them are in a massive pack of drivers. And we'll go on board with E.T. and Nathan, and as I predicted, these two will be taking the lead of the race once Messi and King do pit. And we are essentially watching the battle for the lead as Nathan does make a small mistake, goes into the outside wall a little bit too hard, loses a lot of time to Nathan. Mistakes like that are definitely not how you're going to win this race, and Nathan just flies away, but the draft here in Texas is very powerful, as we've seen, and Nathan has been very good at recovery drives so far. Messi and King still yet to pit, and they are in the middle of the pack. I believe a very bad situation for Messi and King. We'll have to... Oh my goodness, excuse me. We'll have to see what the gap is between themselves and Nathan and Yeetie. And that gap between them is continuing to grow. Messi and King are only suffering while inside of that pack. Though they have a lot more draft to work with, they also have a lot more traffic. And I think Yeetie might be coming into the pit soon. Because, I mean, just from what we saw there in turns 1 and 2, tire wear is starting to kick in for Yeetie and Nathan. Both of them were very early pit stops. So, really, who would be in the lead? It's a good question. I'm trying to figure it out. So, if Messi and King are to pit, which I would have to hope they pit soon, though admittedly they aren't losing a huge amount of time to Nathan and Yeetie, though they are outside of keeping the lead when they do pit. So Nathan and Yeetie, at least for sure, Yeetie has had a very early pit stop in terms of everyone else. And Nathan, I'm not sure how he has ended up here battling for the lead, but I would have to assume it was a similar fashion as Yeetie's into the outside wall again. So tire is definitely starting to kick in. So who would take the lead? It would be Doge or Dilge or Big so far from what I'm able to tell from at least the timing board there on the left. The order just continues to change around every lap as we reach lap 60. So what's going on with the pits, DSA, is basically Messi and King need to pit out of everyone in that little pack there, I think they're in. Nathan and Yeetie, to my knowledge, I believe, had very early pit stops, which have put them in a very nice position, but that position is starting to look a little bit less favorable as time goes on. And I mean, 62 laps so far of green flag racing. I mean, that's almost unheard of here in the Pummu IndyCar series. But I will not be surprised as ET and Nathan, even though they're suffering a little bit from tire wear, they continue to battle it out for the lead, as I think a little bit of contact there after Nathan hits the wall. So I'm very curious how this all is going to turn out now. So ET and Nathan have yet to pit, but it visibly looks like the pack behind them are starting to catch up. And surely if Nathan and ET were to pit, they would go very far down the order. Sorry, hydration is important. Remember to drink water. Sorry. I've actually just ran out of water, so very unfortunate for me to be this thirsty. I mean, this is a massive pack behind him, a huge battle. I do not have the flag system, Mr. Clone. Actually, I don't. So, I do have mod, or admin, I guess, so if I need to yell at someone, I can. Because I think ET is going down the inside of Nathan out of turns 3 and 4. We've seen Nathan starting to struggle on his tires as the laps go by, and I think ET has finally decided that this might be the time to overtake him, but now he's sort of getting... Sorry, I was looking at chat. So side by side, I forget what I was saying earlier, so I'm just going to very casually move on. It looks to be just a sort of repetitive switchback move from these two for the lead so far. And I believe King is trying to ask Race Control if he actually needs to pit. Which, theoretically, I guess you wouldn't have to pit because there are no compounds, and therefore the 2 compound rule doesn't apply. But I don't imagine that working very well. The tire wear very much kicks in very hard. So, very interesting development here. King and Messi sort of on the track on their own. Massive gap, and assuming that ET and Nathan have to pit, they would end up being around them, but probably a lap down. Well, actually, no, that's incorrect, actually. Nathan to the outside wall again. These drivers really do like clipping that outside wall. Out of turn 2, as my game freezes for a good second or two, and that's always lovely. Not scary at all. But Yeezy and Nathan are starting to catch up a bit. So that gap a couple laps ago between Messi and Yeezy and Nathan was 20 seconds. It has been dropped down 17 seconds as the laps go by. And I mean, with this is a very interesting predicament we're in. Especially for Nathan and E.T., who are on very old tires. They have actually been caught up by the rest of the pack. So the tire wear is definitely making a bit of a difference. But I mean, if the pack has been able to catch E.T. and Nathan, as we see Big in the pit lane once again. But, so if the pack is able to catch E.T. and Nathan, who have been consistently catching Messi and King That should mean that the rest of the pack should be able to have a really good chance of catching them. It's definitely going to be very hard for the rest of the pack to catch up to them, but the time has consistently gone down, as there we see tire wear starting to play a huge factor. ET is starting to go down the order, with Pilot John now overtaking him, and Nathan luckily catching the draft of Little Man, who is a lap down. My phone buzzed at me for a second. It's telling me about a live stream on the Pummu IndyCar Series channel. Speaking of which, if you want to catch our next live stream, for the next round of racing, just remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't have to miss any sort of post. I believe highlights will be posted soon as well after races, and this is sort of going from bad. This is sort of going not the best for Yeti right now, as he's still falling down the order. The tire wear just finally kicking in. And there we see Pilot John and Onaz trying to take the lead of this pack. And that gap between Messi and Nathan. Oh, excuse me. That gap between Messi and Nathan, who is on arguably much older tires, has dropped down to 15 seconds. So, and there we see some sort of contact sent Littleman into the outside wall there. He is a lap down, so I guess it would not be entirely impossible that Dilge just moved him out the way. 14.9 seconds now is the gap. So if this one stop is going to work for King and Messi, they really do need to step on the gas here. That didn't work. Okay, cool. I'll go on board with... Oh no, it did work. It just took a second. That's weird. So I'm on board with Pilot John now. Sort of in this battle for the lead as well. Or at least for the battle of the lead in this pack. As one driver is saying that they are 4 wide in the big pack, and I believe this is the big pack, as multiple